You're listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Subscribe weekly for new episodes during Emmy and Oscar season, interviews with top awards contenders, and special monthly mailbag episodes. Email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Now, onto the show.
All right. Hey, Gold Derbyites. Welcome to the post-Joyce, post-Chris era. I'm Deputy Editor Ethan Alter here with Senior Editors Denton Davidson and Marcus James Dixon. We're here talking about the Emmy nominations, which just happened today. So we are doing an emergency Emmy pod focused especially on the snubs and surprises, the shows that didn't make it into contention. But first, before we get into all that, let's definitely talk about some of the top-line things that happened this morning. The big thing that we saw was Severance leading the nominations with 27, the most nominated show out of all shows. So Apple TV Plus has that feather in their cap. The Penguin was second with 24 nominations. It's the most nominated limited series. The Studio is the most nominated comedy with 23 nods. And then the most nominated platform was HBO/HBO Max/ whatever you want to call it these days. That has 142 nominations, and Netflix was second with 120. So that's sort of where we stand as a snapshot of the race. Gentlemen, what reactions do you have based on what happened earlier today?
I can't believe how well Apple did. I mean, in this post Ted Lasso era that we're living in, I never thought we would say this day where one of their comedies gets 23 nominations. And I mean, I'll just go on the record. The Studio was my favorite comedy of the year. So I'm extremely happy just for myself. But I'm also happy for Apple because, you know, some people maybe threw them under the bus after Ted Lasso left. Like, oh, they're never going to do it again. They just did it again.
Yeah, and it also had Presumed Innocent in there with quite a few surprise nominations. So it was a huge day for Apple TV Plus. You know, I've been saying since I saw it, the Studio is going to do huge things at the Emmys. I think it's going to beat Hacks. I think Ike Barinholtz is a slam dunk for supporting actor, and the other actors could win as well. But I think he has the type of role that is just made to win that supporting actor comedy Emmy. So yeah, that's what I noticed as well. Huge day for Apple TV Plus.
Right. It's almost surprising that HBO Max is the leader overall. Obviously, they had White Lotus and everything, but Apple TV Plus is certainly the streamer that everyone's looking at in terms of they led in both comedy and drama with both of those big shows. So.
Yeah. And Severance getting 27, that's just 5 shy of the record. The Game of Thrones record for the final season in 2019 was 32. So if they had got just 5 more, they would have tied that. That's crazy to think about.
Right, absolutely. And we should mention some of the other big shows for people following along. The White Lotus got 23 nominations. Last of Us got 16. And then at 14, we have Hacks and Andor. The beloved Andor, no acting nominations like I had hoped Dick did last week. But at least it was recognized as Best Drama Series and all the other below-the-line categories where Star Wars tends to do well. So that's nice to see. And Marcus, I know you had some first-time nominees you wanted to shout out, too. Let's rattle off some of those.
Yeah, there was, in total, 33 performers got nominated today for the very first time. I'm not going to say all of them. We'd be here all day. But some big ones. Harrison Ford got his very first nomination after years and years in the business. He doesn't really do a lot of TV, so it's not that surprising, but still, he was snubbed for season 1 of Shrinking, and now here he is, season 2 of Shrinking. He gets in. Krista Milioti, I think everyone's so happy for her today that she gets her first for The Penguin. And Colin Farrell has never been nominated. He got in for The Penguin, acting and producing. Some other ones, everyone's talking about Owen Cooper. He is 15 years old. He would break the record if he won for Adolescence as the youngest male actor ever to win. Kristen Bell and Adam Brody both got in. And these people, they're not that old, right? But they've been working for decades in this industry. He was on The OC. She was on Veronica Mars and The Good Place. And so they both get in today. I'm so happy for Kristen in particular.
Right. And what was her Showtime show? House of Lies? I feel like that was one of those shows that I know was a real show, but also feels kind of like it was made up. And yes. It just ran out of Showtime for 5 seasons. Any reality thoughts from you since you're a reality, anything over there that you wanted to call out?
I mean, some interesting stuff. It's going to be another, I think, head-to-head with RuPaul and The Traitors again. And Marcus had mentioned offline, this is the first time in Survivor history that Jeff Probst and Survivor have been nominated in the same year at the same time. Is that correct, Marcus?
Yeah, because he won 4 in a row as a host when the host category was created. And then he was snub until, was it last year he got into the year before? but he missed about 2 decades there of nominations. And Survivor also did not get nominated a lot. This is the first year that Survivor is up for series and Jeff is up for host in the same year. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And we also lost The Voice in the best reality series, which a lot of people were actually predicting that. I was not one of them because they've won 4 times. So it's a little surprising to me that was the first show to fall out, although they have changed their format. There's a lot less live episodes, and maybe people have just sort of lost favor with that show a little
The
bit.
magic is gone with Blake Shelton, I feel like. They need to bring him back.
Right. They need to track him down. They bring him and Gwen back from Nashville.
Yeah.
Just fly them back and have them there. Well, the Voice was definitely on one of those shows we want to call out on our snubs. What we're going to jump into now is sort of our top 5 snubs of the morning, the biggest snubs that we saw. And certainly The Voice was among them for reality because, Denton, as you said, it's been nominated for, I think this is the first time it missed since 2012. So it's been a perennial nominee. And it sounds like maybe the format change, maybe the sudden interest in Survivor again with 50th coming on. That was the reason, some of the reasons it fell out this year.
Yeah, I mean, the huge thing this year, though, I think, is Squid Game. I mean, it went from 14 nominations to 0 for so like the drama category just skunked Squid Game. I'm wearing my Squid Game shirt in protest. To me, that was sort of the most shocking thing. We didn't expect to see it get a lot of above the line love this year necessarily. We thought maybe it could sneak in a couple acting races. But to get nothing, I mean, no stunts, production design, anything below the line at all, it was pretty shocking. And I think Lee Jung-jae is the first person to win Best Actor and then be completely snubbed since Rami Malek in Mr. Robot.
The supporting actor, too, a lot of people were predicting him to get in. Choi Seung-hyun, I hope I pronounced that correct. He's top. He's this huge K-pop star. And he was in 7th place in our odds, and he didn't make it in, which I'm a little bit annoyed that he didn't make it in because he was the standout of that second season.
Absolutely. No, we definitely both Squid Game and Choi. We made a big push with our users. I think in the odds, and we saw them really shoot up from user votes. I think it's certainly hoping to see them in the running. And it is very shocking that such a huge phenomenon in its first season, especially. It just the second season went completely by voters. Nothing in even the directing or stunt category. As we were saying earlier. So it'll be interesting to see what happened there for people to dig in and why this season didn't connect with voters in the same way season 1 did.
Uh-huh.
The other show that missed out, a sort of high-profile miss, was The Handmaid's Tale. We had sort of predicted that there were going to be some for the final season, so some recognition as it ends its run. But Elizabeth Moss got overlooked. Yvonne Strahovski, which I went out on got overlooked. Probably not a surprise to most people. But Cherry Jones did get nominated in Guest Actor, so that was its one representation for its final season.
Yeah.
Again, I was surprised there. Was there anything? Was it snub expected for you, or do you think is that about right for its final season?
I'll just say I loved this final season, and I think Elizabeth Moss deserved a nomination. Certainly Yvonne Strahovski did. I wonder if people were they're kind of over it maybe, and maybe with the real world events of certain political people making The Handmaid's Tale seem more and more like a documentary as opposed to, a fantasy genre show. Maybe that influenced their votes, or maybe they just didn't watch the final season. I mean, Cherry Jones is someone that could have gotten in whether they watched it or not. Like she's a name check type nomination, but I would have nominated the two you mentioned easily.
Yeah, I feel like it was maybe a little bit of a surprise, but definitely not shocking. I mean, we knew this could happen. Elizabeth was definitely, I think, maybe in last place in our odds to be nominated, and it just didn't happen this time. But I do think there's a little bit of a Handmaid's Tale fatigue. But this season was its best reviewed in years. So
remember there was the year when it had all those orphaned episodes and it submitted those and it got all those extra nominations in that really strategic move by Hulu. That was back when it was like at its heyday.
And there's a long layoff before this final season, so it took its time coming back. They do have a spinoff coming up, so that could maybe that'll be the road back in when people get to look at the spinoff whenever that debuts. But and then on another major snub, and Only Murders in the Building, another Hulu series that got 21 nominations for its third season. This season only got 7, which is a pretty steep fall. And two of the big people who got overlooked were obviously Steve Martin and Selena Gomez for in the lead acting category. Martin Short did get a lead actor spot in comedy, but his co-stars were blanked. And Gomez got nominated for the first time last year. Usually that means they repeat. And same with Steve Martin, he's been on and off, but still the anticipation was that he would be nominated again for this season. I personally didn't love this season as much as season 3. I do think the Hollywood stuff was not quite as fun as the Broadway stuff from last season. But yeah, I'm still surprised that Gomez especially didn't get in that.
I disagree with you so much. This was my favorite season 4. I loved the Hollywood stuff. I loved the famous actors portraying the trio. I will say I'm not very surprised by Steve Martin and Selena Gomez not getting in. And by the way, this is great news for Martin Short, who won the SAG Award, and now he doesn't have a vote split in his category. But I'm really, really angry that Melissa McCarthy didn't get a guest actress nomination. That type of role is made for the Emmys. It was so over the top and silly and funny. In comedy, I mean, this is comedy we're talking about, and she should have gotten in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. She was really fun. I really liked her episode, and I did like some of the actors playing actor stuff. I don't know, maybe it's just because the Broadway. I so enjoyed the musical theater parody in season 3. I think the Broadway stuff, especially or the movies, especially in a year with the studio, you had those two going at each other for which was going to do the Hollywood thing better. I think the studio maybe just edged out Only Murders that way, in very different approaches, but still a lot of meta humor with Hollywood running through it.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised about Selena or Steve. I wasn't predicting either to get in. I just had the wrong replacement for Selena, who we're going to talk about in our biggest surprises.
Yes, I think the biggest.
I had Natasha Lyonne getting in, and that
I did too.
And I knew that was shaky ground because Poker Face just hasn't taken off in the same way as the last one. But in general, no, I wasn't surprised by those actors.
Oh yeah, Poker Face only got 2 nominations: Cynthia Erivo and Stunts.
A recurring show that just didn't get the same amount of attention the way it did in its first season, like Squid Game. Some of these shows coming back for season 2, they just didn't get that bite at the apple again. In terms of a first season, sort of a big major snub, I think 4 Seasons stands out from Netflix, mainly because of its star power. You did have Coleman Domingo get in for supporting actor, which made me happy. I thought he was the best thing about that show, performance-wise. But still, with a cast that includes Tina Fey, Will Forte, Steve Carell, obviously, you'd think that there'd at least be more acting nods, and certainly that show just based on that pedigree. It's surprising to me that really Coleman was the one, I think the only major award that it got, which is, again, a surprise. Seems like a significant step to me.
I'm not surprised that it was Coleman if one was going to get in, just because he's like the beloved awards magnet, we should say it right now. But it is, I mean, the awards pedigree of that show is incredible. I mean, it is all just stacked with people with so many Emmys or nominations.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Coleman is the only nominee from the 4 Seasons. And by the way, Tina Fey, she has 46 career nominations. This is according to the Television Academy website, and 9 wins. I don't think she's too mad this morning.
You'll be fine. They're renewed for season 2. That's more important. They didn't need the Emmy to get their renewal.
Yeah.
But remember how it helped 30 Rock when 30 Rock was kind of a little watched show. It didn't have a lot of buzz, and all of a sudden the Emmys in that first season really reinvigorated it and kept it alive.
Right. Yeah. In this case, I'm sure Netflix already sort of greenlit season 2 on the back of season 1 and had it ready to go. Steve Carell won't. Spoiler alert: he won't be back for next season because he had a very similar morning show arc for 4 seasons. But Coleman is if he doesn't win this year, he could be back in contention this year, and maybe they'll add some other ringers from Tina Fey's Rolodex to help with nominations for next year. And let's see. And then the final step, as we mentioned earlier, was The Voice, just mainly because of its longevity in the reality category. I think we sort of addressed like it just wasn't its year. There, Survivor, there weren't any interest in that. It just left it as the also ran this year, it seems.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, let's move on to surprises. We addressed it, and you addressed it. Uzo Aduba for The Residents, which is a show Netflix canceled right before nominations are announced. Do you think they pull that back now? Are we getting Resident season 2?
I mean, it's happened. It's happened surprisingly more often than one would think that people were nominated for a canceled show. I'm just surprised only because The Residents hasn't really been making any waves. I'm not surprised that the one to do it was Uzo Aduba because she is an Emmy favorite. She's been nominated many times and has won. So I'm not surprised she snuck in. I mean, I'm a little surprised, but good for Uzo. Everyone loves Uzo.
They love Uzo. Remember, she would switch categories back in the Orange is the New Black days from like guest to supporting, from comedy to drama. And no matter what category she was in, they would nominate her. By the way, The Residents got 4 nominations, it looks like. Production design, main title, main title music, and then Uzo, and the last one is visual effects.
There you go. Yeah. So no, it did for a canceled show. It did all right. And it's funny. To your point about Uzo, she's category switching. She's won once for drama, once for limited, once for comedy, which feels like the Emmy version of an EGOT almost. So you just keep adding categories for all the different all the different possibilities. And come with that run. Another Netflix surprise, Megan Fahey for Sirens, which again I think that was a show we that Dana and I talked about with Joyce last week about will it pop with anything. I wasn't that convinced just because it came on so late, but Megan at least broke through. So it does seem like people were watching the show and really liked her.
And we're recording this like right after all this happens, so forgive me for not having everything in my brain yet. But Marcus, I don't know if you have the list up. How many nominations did Sirens get?
4.
So that's what surprised me, I think, is that they would single out Megan Fahey but like neglect it in so many other areas. I guess that was the surprising part for me. But it is one of those fan favorite shows. It definitely has a following. The other surprise for me is that it came in a little late to Emmy season. So a lot of times if you come in that late, people just don't have time to watch it and you don't get in. But Megan's got that White Lotus carryover appeal.
I think that might be it. Yeah. And the show also got directing, costumes, Megan Fahey, and the fourth one, picture editing.
It is a little maybe just for I don't think she was in our odds, but Julianne Moore just as a big name star, her not being included was interesting. They didn't find room for her, but Megan did. Again, probably as you said, for the White Lotus residual affection. And then staying on the Netflix beat, Black Mirror. I think again last week, Denton and I weren't sure how that show was going to do coming back after a long layoff, but it looks like it's still really popular with voters. So it got 10 nominations overall and took the best limited series slot that I think other folks are predicting, and in my case especially, would have gone to Presumed Innocent, which wound up not getting in there instead. And Black Mirror really stayed strong. Whenever it comes back, people still really love it.
And it also got in yesterday at the Gold Derby TV Awards, by the way, which we should mention. And I voted for Black Mirror at the Gold Derby Awards. Just full transparency, it was my favorite limited series of the year. I cannot believe that it got in today at the Emmys. I was very shocked because back when it was considered a TV movie, it would get in all the time. And then they added these new rules, so it had to go to limited. And I think people kind of not forgot about it, but they maybe wrote it off because of that category. But wow, 10 nominations. I'm very happy today. Can you tell?
I was happy too. I actually wasn't surprised. I'm more annoyed with myself for underestimating it so much because I knew that the TV Academy loved it. I know that people watch it. I mean, it's a popular show. I am a little surprised because I was ready to predict Paul Giamatti. I thought he would get in. And when I saw Black Mirror get in for series, I was a little bit surprised that Paul didn't get in as well.
Especially because Rashida Jones got in over on the lead actress side.
Right.
Good for her.
And because Black Mirror got in, Presumed Innocent missed out on a Best Limited Series, which was kind of a surprise because it did well very much in the acting categories. I think Jake Gyllenhaal, as we predicted, and then Peter Sarsgaard, Bill Camp, and Ruth Negga all made it. So it was a surprise. I think people weren't sure it was last summer. Would people forgotten? But in terms of the star power, I think helped in its favor there again and kept it competitive in the acting race, even if not necessarily in the main one race.
I was happy for all those actors. That show is so entertaining. I thought for sure that they would forget about it and maybe one or two might sneak in, and for it to perform the way it did, I'm really happy for presumed innocent.
And by the way, we have a gallery at Gold Derby of all of the shows that David E. Kelley produced that where actors ended up winning Emmys. And I think it's about 33 actors from his shows have won Emmys. So now we could add, Jake and Ruth to that list, potentially.
Potentially, right, exactly. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We have more predictions to come. Watch this space because we'll be back with our predictions leading into September 14th for sure. And then the last surprise, this is one, Marcus, you called, which was The Gorge coming from behind to end up in Best TV Movie. So that's something you had spotted early on, and it definitely stayed consistent. It did wind up sneaking in there.
Yeah, and it also got a sound editing nom, which usually these TV movie nominees, they only get TV movie and nothing else. But it's good to see it get the other one. And by the way, the other TV movies, Bridget Jones, Mountainhead, Nanas, and Rebel Ridge. I imagine Rebel Ridge is going to pull it off. But yeah, I'm happy to see The Gorge. I like my sci-fi fantasy genre type programs.
And that's an interesting one, too, because that feels like one that could have gone to theaters if Apple was still doing theaters at that point. But they'd sort of fallen away from that after the Argyle of it all. And then I think that one probably got shut away. I wonder if they'd held it till after F1, maybe they would have tried it again in theaters, because it has those two big stars. It has the sci-fi thriller angles, you said, which tends to do well. It is interesting to think of it as just as going as TV movies. It has such high production feature film quality in that way.
And also Miles Teller is nominated as a producer, so he didn't get in for acting. And same with Bridget Jones. Renee Zellweger was snubbed as an actress, but she gets in as a producer.
Yeah, I think the Renee Zellweger would have been another snub we could have added to the list, because I think people expected her based on her association with Bridget Jones. But no, she got thanked. They went with the movie, but not the star in this case.
TV movie is like still a baffling category for me. I mean, Bridget Jones made over like $100 million worldwide at the box office, and then they put it on Peacock in America. It's so strange. And like, I wonder if this can be, I mean, it's probably going to be Rebel Ridge, but like, does Peacock have a game this year? I don't know about Peacock. We keep hoping, because I love Peacock. I think they have a lot of great shows. I mean, I guess they have Traitors. So we keep wondering, when's Peacock going to like make that break into Emmy dominance?
Right. It's all called because of it predicts the edge of reason in Bridget Jones. That'll be the thing that does it inevitably.
And they do have Poker Face, but unfortunately it didn't do too well today.
Yeah, no. And Mountainhead did wind up making it, even though, as we said, no one really liked it critically. But I think the Succession connection just that kept it in there. It probably won't win. I think I think we all agree that Rebel Ridge is going to be the winner here. But it was interesting to see that managed to get it despite being not liked mostly across the board.
And it looks like Mountainhead just got that, just TV movie, nothing else. That's a little surprising.
Right. Again, with such a major cast and with Jesse Armstrong in the mix, that's enough to get it in the main categories. But yeah, individual categories, not so much. But all right, well, let's end off on some personal picks here. We're gonna pick each pick our favorite surprise nomination and our most sad, the snub we're saddest about. So, Marcus, why don't you kick us off? What are you happiest about, and what snub makes you the saddest?
The one I am happiest about, I kind of spoiled it earlier. Kristen Bell, after working forever and ever and ever, we named all of her previous shows, and she kept getting snubbed. She finally gets in today. Is she going to win? No. Jean Smart's going to win again. But it's good to have her finally get to the Emmys as a nominee. My worst snub is The Traitors missing costumes. And if you watch The Traitors, the costumes are part of the show. Like, it would be nothing without the costumes. And I believe this is a juried category. And for some reason, I don't know why it's a juried category. It should be, part of the regular vote there for all of the people in that costume branch. Maybe that needs to change. I don't know. Something needs to change because this should be nominated.
Well, my favorite surprise is the 2 nominations for Somebody Somewhere, my favorite show, which has never been nominated for an Emmy before. So Jeff Hiller, I was shocked when they said his name. I mean, if they told me someone was going to get a surprise acting nomination from Somebody Somewhere, it would for sure have been Bridget Everett for actress. But I'm thrilled for Jeff Hiller, and Bridget still got her nomination in the writing category. So they were nominated for comedy writing. So I was very happy and excited to see that show will not be in the little suitcase of great shows that were never nominated for an Emmy. And
I love how the writing branch always kind of branches out and does their own thing. They do this a lot. They pick shows that don't get in, other places.
I mean, yeah, it's a great show. It's been a WGA nominee as well. So, I mean, maybe that helped a little bit. And then my biggest snub, Peacock, again, is Eddie Redmayne in The Day of the Jackal. He was nominated for, SAG, Globe, and Critics' Choice. And now he's missed out on the Emmy. We knew this could happen. And I still sort of was holding out hope because it's such a great performance, such a fun show. But that's my biggest snub.
Yeah, no, again, that was surprising because of the Peacock shows, big star there, Oscar-winning name. It is surprising that he was. But season 2 is coming, so again, second chance. For me, I have to say that my biggest surprise, and it was pleasant, was Zach Cherry for Severance. I went out on a limb and called him as a potential nominee last week. I thought he had some of the best material in season 2 of Severance, especially thanks to Merritt Weaver, who was terrific. And I'm gonna think that maybe her being nominated helped give him a bump as well because their scenes together were so great. So it's thrilling to see him nominated, recognized his first nomination. And along with Tremel Tillman, they both have the chance, as our executive editor Marcus Errico pointed out, to be the first the first Black actor to win in this category, if either of them. So that would be a very cool history-making moment for sure. And then on the snub side, I'm going to still rep for Interview with Vampire. Unless anyone doubts my commitment to Sparkle Motion, I love that show. I think it deserved many more Emmys than it got. Certainly best drama, Jacob Anderson for best lead, Sam Reed for best supporting. Sadly, it still remains unnominated at the Emmys, but it is season 3 is on deck for next year, and I'm hoping that the Vampire Lestat rock opera theatrics factor into the Emmys race when that debuts. Because it's what they're doing with the Anne Rice universe is really terrific on that show. So it deserves all the love and recognition. I think.
At least it did get the 2 for makeup and hair. Like it's right on the board now. Sometimes it takes a while for voters to catch on.
Yeah, certainly. And the hairstyling is choice on that show. Terrific hairstyling all throughout, and the makeup effects as well with all the vampire blood and faces. Terrific stuff. So that's where the Emmy race stands. On day of, we're gonna have a lot more thoughts on Gold Derby as the next 2 months unfold, leading into September 14th. So keep checking back for our picks, predictions. Make your own in our forums. Vote in all our predictions offerings as they're coming down the pike. There's a lot more to come. But thanks so much for tuning in, and happy Emmys. Let's keep it going.
Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sikora. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news, and email us at slugfests@goldderby.com.